In this video, we're going to look at how to make money on YouTube without showing your face. I'm going to show you some channels that are proving this works and are making thousands of dollars a month. I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this yourself. Step by step, a full tutorial so you can make a start today. Hey, it's John Davis, and to grow on social media, to push your comfort zone, and to boost your income, do that by subscribing. And to really kickstart your own online business, check out the free masterclass. Link is in the description. These videos are using content that is proven to engage people. This is half the battle with YouTube. Many creators, myself included, we go out there and we spend ages creating videos, only to publish them and nothing. Silence. The content just doesn't engage people. With these videos, you know that they will interest people, and this is why. We're going to make Reddit comment videos. Now, you may have seen these before on YouTube, but in this video, I'm going to give you the beginner-friendly, exact step-by-step instructions to replicate them yourself. So Reddit is a collection of online communities where you can be entertained, shocked, and educated. People ask questions and other people engage and answer them. Sometimes honestly, sometimes just to be freaking funny with it. It's a place to write anonymously and share stories and opinions. There are little sub-communities in there for any topic imaginable, from dentistry to goldfish, but the one we'll focus on is Ask Reddit, a place to leave thought-provoking questions. So what some clever little YouTubers have done is they've taken the content that's on Reddit and they've put it into YouTube format, and I'm going to show you exactly how, step by step. I'm going to just show you a couple of examples. So this one, Sir Reddit, new videos daily, and as you can see, they've got quite colourful thumbnails there, various videos, 255,000 subscribers. Now this channel is actually making close to $500,000 per year. Here's another one, Updoot Everything, if that's pronounced correctly. This one is making close to $400,000 a year. Reddit on Tap, again, over 100,000 subscribers. Let's look at the stats. They're making close to $200,000 a year. Now, a special shout out to this guy. It's a smaller channel than the others, but a really good one. Now, the reason I'm giving them a shout out is this video was actually inspired by a video that they did a while ago. They actually shown people how to create these videos. Times have moved on a little bit and some of the techniques have changed. I'm going to be showing you exactly what they shown me, but I'm going to be adding in some ninja tricks. In other words, ways that you can create these videos a lot quicker and try and compete with the big channels that are there today on YouTube. But I did want to give a big shout out, and you look at this, they're earning estimated yearly earnings of between $4,500 and nearly $70,000, and they deserve every single bit of that as well. So you might be sat there thinking, but what on earth is it that we're going to actually do? Well, let me show you. So do you see this one here, this video? It says, what's one question you hate being asked? Now, this was actually published 4 days ago, and it's already had over 107,000 views. So let me just show you something. Let's remember what that says. What's one question you hate being asked? So I've just jumped into Reddit and I've had a search for that title of that video, what's one question you hate being asked? And if we scroll down, we can actually see this one here has had 27,500 comments. It's up there as one of the most engaged topics on Reddit, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking to replicate questions that have been asked on Reddit that people are engaging with. People want to give an opinion, they want to share a story. We know that people are interested in that exact topic. So let's click on this. So here's the question, what's one question you hate being asked? And if you scroll down, basically you get tons of different responses. Let's jump back to the video, and there we go. Do you see the resemblance there? What's one question you hate being asked? Have a look at how that looks. And the username there, let's jump back. There's the username and it looks exactly the same. Now there's a reason for that. The way they're creating this content is they are literally just print screening the questions. So let's press play on this one and just have a quick look at what's involved.
What's one question you hate being asked? What words would you use to describe yourself? Why are you single?
So as you can see, it's a pretty straightforward video. It is just screen prints with some robotic voice over the top, and I'm going to show you now exactly how to create that. Now, first of all, you're going to need a video editor. Now, the one I'm using is called Filmora. The link is in the description, but you can use any. Well, you're only using it for very basic functionality, so I'd imagine a lot of the free ones out there would do the same. So what we're going to do is, this is basically where we assemble our videos, and there's various different components that we need to get. We need to get the visuals, we need to get the audio, and we need to put them together. And I'm going to show you some cool little tricks to do that in the quickest way possible. So the first thing we're going to do is copy the question, but there's a couple of little tricks that I'm going to show you. First of all, we want to zoom in. Now the reason we're zooming in is we're basically going to be creating some pictures. Now the smaller that is on your monitor and on your screen, the more pixelated it will be when you then add it into your video editor. So if we zoom in, we're going to get a much clearer resolution. Because if you think about it, we're not going to be looking at this entire page, we're only going to be looking at the actual question. Next, I've also installed a utility called ShareX. Now ShareX is a great little utility for doing screen captures, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that now. If I press Control and print screen, you'll see these crosshairs come up. Now these crosshairs allow me to select an area and screenshot it. So let's select the question. That's now saved to my computer. If we jump back into the video editor and we open this folder, this shows where I've just saved that picture. So the first thing we would do is drag the picture into our video editor and drag it into the timeline. And let's just expand that. So as you can see in this main screen, this is exactly what it's going to look like. Now there's a couple of things we can also do at this point. We've got our main question, and what we could do is we need a background. So if you look, Reddit is actually on a very dark grey. So behind it we can see a black bit. And we could do with having it all one colour really. That's how the big channels are doing it. So we're actually going to go to a site called canva.com, which is a really good site. There's a paid version and a free version. For what you need here, you can get away with a free version. I'm going to create a YouTube thumbnail because we want that screen ratio. That's basically going to give us a blank template. Now what we need to do now is colour that in. So if we go back to Reddit, and I'm going to use this little tool up here called Colour Pick Eyedropper. And this basically shows me different colours that are on the screen. So if I hover over this grey area and click, it actually shows me what the hash value and the RGB value are for that particular colour. So we're going to copy that, go to our template in Canva, and all we're going to do is click on that and colour it in. I'm going to paste that hash value in. That is it. That is literally it. We're going to create a dark grey square in the same ratio as a YouTube thumbnail. And let's download that file. And all I'm going to do now is drag that again into our video editor. So all we're going to do now is drop that into our video. So I'm going to move this layer up. I'm going to drag this one underneath it. And what you should see is if we make them the same size, is now we've got one screen that's exactly the same colour. Depending on what video editor you use, you can probably do that in a much easier way. But with Filmora, that's the best way that I've found. If you've got an easier way, just let me know. Put it in the comments. So one thing I want to show you, what a lot of these videos do, is they have like this little interference that goes across the screen. So if we keep watching for a second, you see that fuzzy interference? It's almost like a broken TV, like an old TV set that needs a good thump on the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, if we go to a channel called Pixabay, and if you search for TV, there's lots of free videos we can use in here. So I'm actually going to use this one. So as you can see, it's a very similar effect and it'll do for what we need. So just click on download there, check the licensing rights, but this one's free for commercial use, so you download that video. So we've downloaded that video and we're just going to add that into our sequence here. So what we'll find is that it doesn't quite match, but that's easy enough. We just expand it and move it. It doesn't really matter. We just need that kind of fuzzy interference effect. So we also need to cut that video down. So what we're going to do is it'll be different in each editor that you use. But I just put a little clip in here where we do a cut and delete the excess bits. And what we'll do is you can just keep copying that every time we need it. So let's make this grey bit longer. So here's what we've got so far. We've got the question. And then we've got a little bit of that interference. So what we now need are the answers. So let's go back to Reddit. So we're going to scroll down until we find an answer that we want. And once again, we're going to do that little ninja trick. We're going to press Control and print screen. And we're going to take that answer, copy it, go back to our video. So we print screened that answer, then we've imported it into our video editor and we've put it into this timeline. We're going to drag it down here and just expand that a little bit. So now we've got our first question. So if we see how that kind of connects together, perfect. Now, a couple of little things that you're going to want to know here. First of all, audio we're going to get onto a moment. So one thing that you've got to remember is people are going to be reading this in their head. They're going to be looking at the questions, looking at the answers, and in their head they're going to be reading it. So in a short moment, we're going to be adding our audio, and there's a couple of different ways we can do that. But one thing I would make sure you do at this point, because it's quite heavy on the editing, this kind of video, is I would just read this aloud in your head, and that gives you an idea of how long it should be. So if you start off at the beginning of that clip, and in Filmora you just press the space bar and it starts playing. So if I press this, and then I'm just going to read it out, and it gives us a little bit of an idea with our timings. Why don't you talk a lot? Or why do you stay so quiet? And we press spacebar again, and that basically stops it. So if you look down here in our editor, you can see there, it gives us an idea of how long that clip should be, really, for someone to read it in a normal voice and a normal speed. That'll come in useful in a bit when we add our audio, because like I say, there's quite a bit of going back and forth with the editing, but once you've done this a few times, it becomes really, really easy. And we basically just repeat that process for each question. Copy and paste some of them video interference kind of markers, copy and paste some of these in periodically. Now, there's one other trick that I can show you. So if we go back to one of the big channels, what you're going to find is that when there's a long question, they block off parts of it. And that's to keep the viewer engaged. That's to keep them guessing what the answer is going to be. So if we press play, and I'll just try and find an example. So you'll see that the screen kind of is showing part of the answer, and then they add the next part. Did that make sense? So if we just go back a tiny bit. What 3 fun facts can you tell the class about yourself? And if we press play, you'll see more of the answers populated. There you go. So getting asked this every year in school drives me crazy. So they've split that up into 2 separate parts. So I'll show you how to do that as well. You don't have to do that. You can reveal the entire answer in one go and cut down on your editing times. But sometimes it's better to model what the big channels are doing if that's what you eventually want to have. So let's use this as an example. Now there are 2 different ways you can do this. I'm going to show you both. So one way is that we take that background image that we created earlier and we Control-C and Control-V. We basically just paste a version of that in. And we just overlap with the top of this question. Now, you'll see there, I've just got a blank screen. So what we want to do is resize that. We've basically just cloned that background image. But because we know it's the same colour, we can use this to mask some of our question. It's just a little bit of a moving around, resizing, getting it just right. So if we look at that now, basically you can see there that we've got the question blocked off a little bit. So again, when you're creating it, you can read it out in your head if you like. So let's just do it. Why don't you talk a lot? So we would then just cut that black square so it's covered at that point. Now if you press play again, basically you can have part of it is going to be blocked by this black bar, and then it's going to be unblocked and visible for the entire question, as you can see by that. So that's how we do the reveal, the text reveal. So I'm going to show you another way that we can do this. If we press Control Print Screen, and then before we do anything, we can actually create a little bit of a drawing on here. So if we change it to rectangle, and what we want to do is you've got a couple of options. Border color, we click this dropper, and we choose this background color, and OK. We do exactly the same for fill color. Click the dropper, choose that background color. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a rectangle over the bits that we don't want to reveal yet. So this bit. So we've now hidden that. Now let's do a rectangle region, and we're basically now going to screenshot this. It's important to make sure your screenshots are the same size when you're doing it this way. So if we go all the way across and use the edging, that's number 1. Then we'll just do exactly the same again, but this time we won't block any out. So we import them into our video and we drag them into the timeline. We do the full question second and the blocked out question first. The only thing to be careful of is that they actually line up at the same height. So again, if we now press play on that, and we can see that it jumps from one to the other. So there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either create separate images, or you can use colours and bars and shapes that are the exact same colour to kind of block bits off. Or you can make it much easier on yourself and you can just reveal the whole entire answer. It depends how engaging you want to make it. So what we've got there is the basis of the video. We've got the initial question and we've got an answer. You just need to repeat that process quite a few times to get multiple answers on there. But that is exactly what you need to do. Next off, we need the audio. Now this part all depends on you. Many of the channels will use what is called a TTS reader. And I'll be honest, I hate them. They sound awful. Maybe that's part of the charm, that robotic voice is kind of what people almost expect with these channels. But maybe English isn't your first language or you don't like your own voice. But there are options and I'm going to show you a couple of them. So first of all, you can pay for a TTS reader. But the one I actually use is an IBM one. And I'm going to show you another little ninja trick to be able to use this for free. So if we just go to IBM Watson, I'm going to put the address in the description, but it's a text-to-speech service. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Reddit and we're going to copy the text. Jump back into the text-to-speech. And we're going to paste it in there. Now, you've got various different voices that you can use. Let's leave it on the default one, which is American English Allison version 3. And we're going to press speak.
What's one question you hate being asked?
So that's one way of doing it, but like I say, we can change it. So let's see if we can find... let's try Michael, because a lot of them seem to use a male voice. So again, let's paste into there and press speak.
What's one question you hate being asked?
So you'll notice that there's no download button. So how do we get the audio from there into our video? If you right click in this little bar, and here's another ninja trick for you, and save audio as, and then save. If we go back to our video now, and it's named it synthesize. So what we want to do is let's just quickly rename that. Just add MP3 onto the end. And drag that in. And then we're going to drag that down into our timeline. And you'll see it sits at the bottom there. And if we play that.
What's one question you hate being asked?
And that's how we add the audio. So we just repeat that process. Repeat that for each question. You're going to copy it in, you're going to download it. You're going to copy another question, you're going to download it. And then the tricky bit is just getting everything to line up. That's one way of doing it. Like I say, I'm not a massive fan of doing it that way. So another way is basically to use your video editor and to record your own audio. So in Filmora, you've got record and record voiceover. If you click on that, and then basically just read the question yourself, use your own voice. One channel that does this really well and has a very engaging voice is the person I spoke about before who actually taught me some of this technique. And if we press play, you can hear some of their voice, but I think they're really engaging and much, much better than using the TTS reader.
Hey everybody, Rob here. It's time for a new nuclear revenge story.
I think Rob has got a very warm and engaging voice. So what I would do personally is exactly what Rob does. I would just do the voiceover myself, record my own audio. It will save you so much time in the long run with the editing. You could get more videos out there. If you don't want to use your own voice, that's fine. I've just shown you one way of doing it. You want to find a TTS reader. The one I'll put in the description is free. If you use them little ninja hacks that I've shown you and basically work around the restrictions, it does add on to your editing, but once you've done so many of these videos, it'll become a lot easier anyway. Step 6 is basically to keep repeating this until you're done. This is a hugely repetitive niche, but as you can see, it works. You'll need to get comfortable with the processing, and remember that if you do what others don't, you can get what others won't. Trust me, in the time it's taken me to research, script, record, and edit this video, I could have created about 8 of these Reddit ones. So do what you gotta do. If you're looking for other YouTube channel ideas that you can do without showing your face, then you're in luck because here's 10.